What's up everybody, my name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon in the crypto universe. Today's Friday, November 14th. Now, I have some exciting news to share with you in today's dog video, because a company, a decentralized exchange called Sats Terminal, has announced that 100% of their fees when people trade dog will be used for a buyback model. And that buyback model basically buys dog from the actual Runes protocol to stack for their dog strategic treasury. Now, this model can be adopted by many other decentralized exchanges or other companies for that matter, but this is actually quite amazing. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the overall market, because right now, even though dog's kind of consolidating, trading sideways, there is a lot of volatility, you're seeing Bitcoin's price go down, I want to share with you who's actually buying. These people that are buying, aka companies, should allow you to understand the mentality and their model of how they beat the system by buying the dips. And even on-chain data sharing with you that we're absolutely oversold and ready for a reversal at any moment in time. Plus, I wanted to share with you the charting analysis really quickly to what we could expect in the dog price. So let's go ahead and smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X. Please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I'll never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email. So please be careful and invest safely. Guys and girls, let's get right into it. Okay, so dog Bitcoin right now is at 140 million market cap. Again, just over the past 24 hours, it's actually been trading sideways. So it's roughly around 150 to 140 million. It dipped as low as 139 million just overnight. But it's because Bitcoin saw a massive dip. Look at Bitcoin's price. Right now, it's 96,000 US dollars. So obviously you're seeing the entire altcoin market take a dip. When I look into Bitcoin's price even close up, yeah, that's a reaction to dog's price. The dog price and Bitcoin took that sharp dip. Let's look at the memecoin market. Memecoin market is still down, and I don't think it's going to come back up until Bitcoin comes back up. Now, I want you to pay attention to something very interesting. So you do see dog Bitcoin, but what's up top? Memecoin. Now, why am I bringing up Memecoin? If you don't know, the Canary Fund, which is starting the Pengu ETF, is also beginning a Memecoin ETF, and Memecoin or Mog is inspired by these TikTok videos. What's really interesting is that even with Memecoin having an ETF being filed by Canary, and also this has multiple tier 1 centralized exchange listings, it's only roughly around $5 million higher than Dog Bitcoin. Dog has no ETF. Dog has only one tier 1 centralized exchange listing, and Dog has been in the top 20 meme coins by market cap on CoinMarketCap just with that alone, just by community. So don't fall for these artificially pumped tokens such as MOG. I just don't think that's what the case should be. Now let's look at why the market is dumping. Well, overall, everything's dumping, not just crypto, but also AI, stocks, NASDAQ, S&P 500, Dow Jones, they're all going down. But most importantly in crypto, we're also seeing that Binance continues to work with Wintermute, selling off major assets, and specifically Bitcoin, because everything is denominated in Bitcoin in pairs, meaning if you have a specific altcoin, well, guess what? It's priced in Bitcoin. Just keep that in mind. It's not priced in US dollars. Now let's look at the leverage trading that's been wiped out, because a lot has been wiped out. A lot of these perpetual trades, these spot ratios, dropped roughly 9 to 5x. So they all got flushed down. This is the whole point, is to flush them out. And look at Larsson. So if you don't know Larsson, he actually has a YouTube channel, and based on his model, this is the Larsson indicator. So every time you see yellow, which is his indicator for his Larsson line, you can see that we're in a bullish trend. But every time we see blue, that could be the very beginning of a bearish trend. And by the way, these blue indicator lines from the Larsson line doesn't last forever all the time. Sometimes it's a very small amount of a dip, and then sometimes it's a big dip. But what I'm basically saying and mentioning in this video is that where could the price of Bitcoin go? Well, it could go down to around $90,000. That's how low I think Bitcoin can actually go. We actually need this major pullback in order to see another rally up, but it won't maybe happen like right in December. Maybe it could happen in the beginning of 2026 because we've never seen a cycle like this. But people want this to go down. In fact, Callsheet, which is a prediction marketplace, there's a 70% chance that Bitcoin drops below 90K. So this is what people are betting on for it to happen, 70% of those people. But also in Polymarket, there's around 62% of people that think that Bitcoin's going to drop below 90,000 as well. This is what happens with market manipulation. They convince majority of retail, but also professional leverage traders to start placing their bids, meaning placing short positions. So everybody, I think in the market, especially leverage traders, are most likely shorting the market. They're shorting every cryptocurrency, they're shorting Bitcoin. So what happens when a majority of people short Bitcoin? Well, most likely there's going to be a short squeeze, meaning all these people who are shorting Bitcoin and all these altcoins to the downside, they will all get liquidated at some point. We don't know when that's going to be, but when they do get liquidated, a short squeeze occurs, and then you start to see a major pump in every single crypto out there. So before that's happening, you're seeing people like Michael Saylor still buying Bitcoin today. So this upcoming Monday, they're going to release a report sharing their recent Bitcoin holdings. They continue to stack. And I'll never forget when Michael Saylor bought into Apple before Apple blew up. And Apple is now like a Goliath of a company. So he's doing the exact same thing, betting on Bitcoin. If you didn't know, guess what? Wells Fargo, one of the major banks in the US, just bought 383 million worth of Bitcoins through an ETF. Then you also have this guy, Gary Cardone, who just placed a $90 million order on Bitcoin. Think about that. These people are buying. Now, the reason they're buying is because people have this narrative that Bitcoin is dead, right? They want you to think, the retail wants you to think, and also leverage traders want you to think that we're going down. But if you think about it, that's been the whole history of Bitcoin. And in fact, if you ever put $100 each time Bitcoin was declared dead, it would be worth roughly around $100 million as of today. So are you willing to put $100 into Bitcoin? Are you willing to put $100 into DOG? Let me know the thoughts down in the comments. What about this? The Fear and Greed Index. As you can see, right now, this is where we are. We've seen this twice already in this Parabolic event for Bitcoin's price ever since 2023, ever since BlackRock started announcing that they were very bullish on Bitcoin. We started to see reversal in that trend. But with the government shutdown, if we think of the history of government shutdowns, which just recently ended, look at 2013. Look at 2019. Every time that they saw a US government shutdown, there was, a few months later, a Parabolic event for Bitcoin's price. This is where we are currently in 2025 with this government shutdown. Now, could it look something like this? Well, as you can see, many of these different Bitcoin prices are not the same. They all have different history, different volatility. They're not identical. But this is something to pay attention to, and maybe something that people aren't willing to show you. But what's really interesting is that this guy back in the day on Reddit predicted that Bitcoin's price back in 2019 was going to hit this price at around roughly $4,000 to $5,000 US dollars, and predicted roughly around 2022, aka late 2021, that Bitcoin is going to hit $60,000. Now this person is saying that the bottom is now here, and that soon in 2026, Bitcoin's going to hit $1 million and Ethereum's going to hit $100,000. Well, if that's the case, altcoin season's guaranteed and confirmed. Now, listen, another thing I want to share with you is TechDev. TechDev shared with you how the Bitcoin price is very similar to this business cycle signal. Now, every time you can compare these two different lines, look at what we're seeing. Remember, I talked about that this 4-year cycle is very different. It's turning into a 5-year cycle. Now, look at this pre-Parabolic event. Now, this is very, very long compared to the past two that we've seen. But this is a good sign because we could have bottomed out on the business cycle signal, which could signal the bull run for Bitcoin. Because every time we have a pre-parabolic run, there's followed by a parabolic run. Does that make sense? And then there's a bear market that's right after. That's just how these cycles work. So that's why I want you to pay attention. Now, people are stacking dogs. So shout out to Raphael for posting and sharing updates regarding the wallet trading activity within the top 100 wallets. Because as you can see, there have been a total sell of around 14 million dog, but also a total buy of 53 million dog within the top 100 wallets. So roughly, there's a net accumulation of 39 million tokens. So none of these whales are really selling that much. They're either just holding or buying a little bit more, and that's very positive. But here's the breaking news I want to share with you, which is Sats Terminal. They have just announced today that they're launching a DOG strategic treasury, aka reserve. So basically, just within the first month that people trade DOG on their decentralized exchange, all of those fees, 100% of those fees, are going to be used to buy back DOG and stack for their strategic treasury, for their DOG tokens. So this is absolutely an amazing model. I love this. This is similar to a flywheel model that people have been using in the Ordinals and also the CryptoPunks on Ethereum. So now we're seeing the same model being used for Bitcoin runes. And to be very honest with you, I'm not actually seeing this model used on any other meme coin on any other chain. I think it's because the family and the network and the community within Bitcoin DeFi, especially the runes, everybody's very close and tight knit. So that means everybody knows one another and everybody kind of trusts one another, and we just are trying to build this economy together. So the question is, who's going to be next to do this buyback model, this flywheel model, this stacking the dog strategic treasury model? Could it be Magic Eden? Could it be Satflow? Could it be DotSwap, Bitflow, Zap, Saturn, RuneStex, Radfi, Odin.fun, Unisat? Well, regardless, I want you, if you can, go on X and basically tag these people and ask them, are you willing to use a buyback model that Sats Terminal has done and also stack a dog strategic treasury, either using 100% of your fees, 50% of your fees, 15%, it doesn't matter. Just ask them, are they willing to do it? And this should be very exciting. So remember, I talked about that we're very much a close-knit DeFi system within Bitcoin. So this is the Rune ecosystem overall. And the reason I bring this up is because this is something that I seen in Solana and Ethereum before they blew up. It was this tiny on Solana and Ethereum, but now they're huge. Now they have a ton of companies, a ton of different developers, a ton of different products, lending platforms, DEXs, you name it. But now I wanted to create this for you to understand how big the Runes ecosystem is over 1.5 plus years. It's growing obscenely fast, and I guarantee you this is actually going to get much bigger. So version 2 will be coming out. If you have any companies that you want to report or make me want to include in here, please leave a comment down below if you want that to be included in the next revision. So this is just insight of where we're going. Okay, so this is the dog Bitcoin price on the chart. Regardless of what you're seeing with dog's descending trend line, yes, as I mentioned, it's hard to break out of that. What if we notice regarding the MACD? The MACD is still heading upwards, meaning at some point, maybe in the month of December, we're going to hop into the buyer's market. That's just what I'm seeing right here. Ever since August of this year, we've been heading upwards out of a seller's market into a buyer's market. Now, what I want you to understand that this is the overall crypto fear and greed index in the entire crypto market. So every single time that we see massive extreme fear, the dog price is at a low. Same thing right over here. It correlates pretty much together. Now you're seeing the exact same thing with this specific moment in dog's price. We're in the extreme fear because the entire market's in extreme fear. Look at the prices of all these different coins. It's all in extreme fear. But eventually this will break out. These are all cycles. This will not last long. And I think maybe in December, this may happen where we all break out. It may not actually happen in November. Maybe November is a time where people accumulate dollar cost average and build more exposure because they don't get these opportunities that much to buy dog Bitcoin. So that's just my personal thoughts. So you already know I'm very bullish around dog Bitcoin, but this buyback model is absolutely very exciting that Sats Terminal has announced as of today. So shout out to them. I'm sure many of these other different decentralized companies are going to do it, but I think most people building products on top of dog should be doing this. And so I'm excited for it. This is an absolute game changer, and I just cannot wait for the next coming weeks to come, especially given that this is something that's very new. So with that said, let me know your thoughts down below regarding the overall macro market and also within the runes market within dog and with this whole ecosystem kind of growing and also the buyback models. I want to hear your thoughts down below and I cannot wait to read them. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X to receive all of our alpha calls and updates regarding dog and moon. Till then, see you guys girls next time.